I'll wait till Mike.
Yes.
Okay. We're recording. Yes, I am.
Hey, how are you?
I'm here.
Is this
Mine?
mine or yours, Mike?
Did you give him one?
Yes, I did.
Marie?
It's right here.
Paul, you wish to start along with pledge? Yes, sir. Please rise for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we had multiple papers being handed out, running slightly late. So I will call the work agenda of the Budget Committee meeting of Tuesday, September 20th, to order at 10 after 6, beginning with quorum from...
Is there an agenda?
There is...
Over there?
Yep.
Yeah, take one there for Mike. I got an extra one. We should have got one.
Beginning with quorum from my left.
Mike, will you?
Maureen Steer. Caitlin McGarty.
Bob Carrier.
Larry Brown.
Thomas McDougal.
Lou Snyder.
Stan Nato.
Dennis Wing.
Okay. On the first item of the agenda, there's public input to any Budget Committee issues. This would be a chance for anyone in the audience to bring something that is important to the Budget Committee to our attention. No one here. Move to the minutes, which and to housekeeping. As minutes has its own line, we'll do housekeeping. Is there anything from any member of the committee that we should know about?
Did you want to bring up that?
That will
Unless you want to bring it.
we'll move it down. No housekeeping at the moment. Keep that in mind for later. Minutes, review and approval. There are 2 minutes out there, the minutes of June 21st and August 16th. Do you have those minutes? And for those who do have them and have read them, is there a motion to approve with any corrections or amendments as may be put forth? Beginning with the minutes of June 21st. Okay. Then, on the minutes of June 21st, motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion regarding the minutes of June 21st? Corrections, additions, with the understanding that any periods, commas, apostrophes, or misspellings will be corrected in the final original copy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I abstain because I wasn't here.
Okay, noted. Then, same question for the minutes of August 16th. A motion to approve with any corrections or amendments as may be necessary. Motion?
I just have a question on one of the things. I just read through it yesterday.
Oh, well, bring it. Move, get a second, we'll have to...
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Dennis, you seconded.
I seconded, I guess.
And you have the floor for discussion.
I read it yesterday. Second page, the second paragraph. I'm the one that said it, but I couldn't tell by reading it that I said it. It says I went to town to get some information on the transfer station, but prior to that, it was saying Chairman Larry Brown, so I didn't know if you wanted to throw my name in or take your name out or rearrange it or whatever you want to do, because I couldn't even figure out that I
Oh,
said it.
I see. That
They do.
on page 2, the
Yeah.
top of page 2.
Yeah.
um, where it says, it should be, if.
Okay, I
if
know
beginning
what- I
on-
know what you're
would
talking about.
Paragraph 2, would this do it? Dennis Wing, colon.
Yep, simple as that, yeah.
Yeah,
Right here.
right there, the first two words would be Dennis Wing,
Okay.
colon. I went to town.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else that caught anyone's eye?
The first paragraph, am I just reading this incorrectly, or does that first sentence not make any sense?
Ri-
Is that page 2?
Page 2, sorry,
Okay.
right above where we were.
Okay.
Well, you can, if you want to be, it would be Chairman Larry Brown, colon. And it would be the default budget is that.
Okay, that.
Is that over which? So is that over which has cross out the.
Okay.
Okay, so the sentence would read, Chairman Larry Brown, colon.
Yep.
The default budget is that which the town of Milton,
Wait, you want the D back in then?
over which the town of Milton has, cross out the,
Okay.
has full line item transfer operating budget authority. That take it back to more of a sentence. Anything else like that should be addressed for clarity?
If you see spelling or anything, please let me know.
Mhm.
I found some when I was going back through it.
Okay. Well, the motion included spelling errors as they are found and corrected by the recording clerk.
All right.
Then, any other discussion on the minutes of August 16th? Okay. A call for the vote. All in favor?
I abstain.
Abstain.
I abstain.
Okay, 4
One.
abstentions.
Okay,
I
then
don't know, I didn't
carries
That's a
5-4.
504.
504. Then, okay, that brings us up to sort of where we are. As most people know, the selectmen and town office staff have been working short-staffed and extraordinary goodwill to carry forward the operation of the town prior to Heather Thibodeau starting as town administrator. She started
About a month ago.
she's been here for a month, is making her way around the department chairs and may show up at various committee meetings. Mike has been filling in for her and has been riding herd on the budget expenses of the town, the percentage expended, and major expenditure items. Is that close enough?
Yep.
And you brought with you for us materials I think in some vertical graph form.
That was Mrs.
Oh, that's your,
Berge.
okay, yours is the materials from the planning board on the CIP.
Yes.
And
The
you
expenditure
also
report.
brought the, you did, the expenditure.
Correct. This expenditure, I think Bob supplied this expenditure.
I did.
Bob,
So
okay.
this one is as of 9/8/16.
That's actually the August one, Mike. She sent it as close to our meeting as possible, because.
9/8, I have the 9/15. This is 9/8.
Okay.
That's what was sent to me.
And,
Yeah,
okay.
that's fine.
and
It's
at
gonna be
the-
close enough.
Yeah, at the selectmen's meeting last night, I think I remember the percentage as 38% of the budget is spent.
34,904.
34,904, okay. Which is, if you take 3/4 of the year,
We're in pretty good shape.
that's extraordinary.
Yeah.
The expenses by percentage are almost half of what a straight percentage month by month would be.
Right.
And that is because,
Well, we had an extraordinary winter last year, okay? We were without a town administrator for over 6 months. A lot of money wasn't expended in that 6 months as well, because things just weren't running as normal. We've watched the department heads to make sure that we didn't put a freeze on it, but we just asked them to keep an eye on it.
okay. Lou, you had a question?
Mike, can I ask what the name of that gasoline thing that you did?
It's it's called the WEX program, WEX. And to date, we've saved over $8,000 to date in fuel costs alone.
And that's through Cumbies, right?
No, there's a number of different vendors, not just Cumbies. Cumbies is one of them.
Can you just Google WEX and get some answers?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep,
Because I thought that might be a good thing for the school to look into for
absolutely.
the
The buses.
vans, that would
Yeah.
take gasoline.
Yeah, fortunately for diesel, it's too bad that that station had closed down the road down there. It had diesel. I think it would have been really great if it was still here, but buses are still traveling out of town. The highway does it by having a fuel tank in back of one of the pickup trucks and bringing it back, so you don't take these big trucks down to another city.
And that's about a 100-gallon tank,
Yeah,
110?
Well, I don't see us doing
Yeah.
that, but,
no, I know, I agree. I think they're probably going down to Rochester.
no, but I could not, I thought it was wax, not wet, so I figured I'd check with you, because I'd like to bring that up
Sure.
to the board.
Yeah. It is WEX, not wax, it's WEX, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Then, summary for the town budget is just under 35%. Those savings come from having an extraordinarily mild winter, from the savings of being between town administrators, and another $8,000 because the selectmen went out and solicited for the to
WEX
join the WEX
program.
program, and that if you look at the agenda, that should, I think, answer the question under 4B as to why the June expenditure report is only at 28%.
Yes.
So you can cross that out. The town administrator is not here regarding a discussion of revenues relative to past and current budgets. Bob Carrier, while we are still on the town, do you want to speak to that?
What I want to do, Larry, is have the town administrator show how this is worked. What I really want out of this is you got an expenditure report for the month. Okay, what is the revenues coming in side by side to that? Because you also got to include the school in there, because we're sending them a check a month. I like to make the comparison side by side, and what I'm looking for is there a trend here? Is there one, are we a little low, or is this going up high? How we balance it out? This is something I've always wanted to try to measure it, because you have to figure in the school, and when you look at the total that we're spending that month, that's an incredible amount of money, and I would like to just measure it to see how well it comes in. Even though we didn't take any TANs, it's just that I want to know which part of the revenues is it coming from. I think Stan mentioned it once. I think it could be at the end of 2014 going into 2015, because we didn't get any money. I'm thinking that 2014, that's only my speculation, but I'd rather get it from her, is to see how it flows.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I want from out of that, and I would like to probably just table that till after the budgets, because they're starting in already.
Then, before we leave that, just to sort of set it in place for next time around, Mike.
So regarding budgets, when I gather, the department heads are just finishing up all their budgets. And this year, we're asking for a full budget review, not just the changes. I asked that the budget, it's to refresh ourselves on what the entire budget looks like.
Mhm.
So what do you expect out of that?
Refresh ourselves.
Like, no, I mean, do you expect them to give a presentation on this, like what this line is for?
Yes, but they'll have backups. They'll probably do a PowerPoint presentation and have their backups on the PowerPoint
You
presentation.
go line by line, this is what we're spending and all.
Yeah,
and this is what
correct.
this- Okay.
That's, so this would, I think, be similar to what people used to talk about in zero-based budgeting, that if you have had a line in your budget for putting fresh starch in the antimacassars on Grandma's sofa, and you finally notice that you don't have Grandma's sofa, and you still have a line for the antimacassars, this is time to take that line
To
out.
refresh ourselves, to look at all the entire budget, yes.
Yeah, okay. That, what I think Bob may be getting at, and I may not be accurate, is the tax flow, the rate at which revenues come into the town from various sources. Simple math. We're going to spend $12 this year, $1 every month. Tax revenues come in January 1st, $12. We have to keep $11 on file the second month, $10 on file the third month, et cetera, or do tax revenues come in at $1 a month, and we have to be careful we don't spend more than $1 that month because we won't have any money for it.
That's pretty
That's-
much what I'm
that's-
looking for.
okay.
Okay, just, it's a comparison side by side. How
Mhm.
did this month go? Because the school does take a chunk of it.
Yeah. Okay, is there any other, does that cover everything, Mike, that you wanted to bring up? And does that answer the question that you had this far? That, if not, then you can cross out discussion of the town budget current and leave a circle around future. Yes?
Chairman, I believe you mentioned that looks like we're running about 35% so far of what's been expended on
Yes.
the budget. I'm assuming you're basing that on basically the last page, the last number there for grand total,
I thought I had that.
34.095.
Yes,
Is that correct?
that's, yep.
I'd like us to be a touch careful about that. I saw that, I heard 35, and I thought, hey, that sounds pretty good. But then as I went through and looked at the various departments, I saw general fund, okay, they've used about 50%. Looked at, insurance and benefits, that's about 61.
And that's by section by section.
Yeah, section
This
by
is the
section.
total for the entire.
Exactly,
Yep.
I'm getting to that. But then I looked at the warrant articles. because I couldn't understand how, when I was seeing so many departments that had used 50%, that our number was 35. I'm thinking, how does this work? Then I realized it's because the warrant articles haven't been expended yet. So I think that we should be, I'm just asking ourselves to be careful when we think, hey, we're in really great shape, we've only spent 35% of what we've got. The biggest reason we've only spent 35% is because in that 35% of the warrant articles, which you can only use for warrant articles. You can't take money that's been allocated for roads and use that to fix up the building that just fell down. So we should be careful when we say, hey, we look really good, because the budgets for most of the departments are roughly 50 to 60% gone if you go through the numbers, which is still pretty good.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I
But
think
for
we're
the
doing
month
really
of-
good, but
For the,
I-
right now, for this month, the month of 9/15, it looks good.
yeah, like I said, I just want to make sure that we don't delude ourselves in thinking that, hey, we look really good, when, yeah, a huge chunk of that, 35%, is because our warrant articles have not been expended yet.
Caitlin?
The operating budgets for the various departments are running at about where you would expect them to be, 50 to 60%.
Excuse me, Bob. Caitlin, did you have a comment?
Yeah, if you take the warrant articles out, we're at 51.2.
Which is really good still for it being, 9 months out of 12 months. year.
September, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just-
Okay.
2
Bob?
months ahead of the game.
The only thing is, if you look at the assessing, it's at 27%. Okay, there's a reason for that, and I was told that money's gonna start flowing in, because some of them are not sending the bills in. I think that's part of it right there, because that's the assessing, and that's a contract services. So Kathy said, you watch, this line's gonna change. As soon as they send their bills, and a few things are gonna come along, you're gonna see that line go up. It's gonna make a difference in the, where we're still gonna be.
And next month will be at a different number
Yeah,
too.
we're going to be still in good shape. It looks
Yep.
like it's skewed a little bit, with maybe something not getting done, but also gotta figure there's a drought. Not much cutting grass from the town. They don't send their guys out. I mean, they don't, they save some fuel.
Okay, to summarize for the video listeners, Caitlin just pulled the warrant expenses out, and we are at 51.2, 34% on the operating budget itself. Both of those numbers are extraordinary good fortune. At the end of line 3A, there is future, and also at the end of line B, school budget discussion, current and future. Let me just say momentarily before I ask Lou for her input, is that one of the things that Bob Carrier did very nicely last year was line up the dates and make sure that when we had the discussion with the department heads, when we had the discussion with the school district personnel for the Milton School District budget, that the dates were orderly and up to date. I am shamelessly going to lean on him for that help this time around. That brings us to 3B, which is a school budget discussion, and any thing that you want to bring for how you think the school district's going.
Well, we're doing a lot of work on reforming the SAU. We are gonna use the Damon House. We've been in there. We're going tomorrow night at 6 o'clock because Paul was in Hawaii and didn't get to see our other discussion. So we're going in tomorrow night because a couple of walls have to go up to make offices, and I think the superintendent's office, it looks large, but it's also going to be a conference room. And we're not sure totally yet. I'd like a closet built in there for supplies and, cleaning utensils, and to keep it neat, And we had to have 2 trees removed. I think another one's got to come down right in front of the house. I thought it was an excellent idea because we own it, so we're not gonna be paying rent on the building. So once we get that, and it shouldn't, we're looking at using our maintenance and repair fund to do that work so that it would be no additional cost to the taxpayer, because that does fall in the guidelines. I did check with Karen last night about that, just, for clarification from myself, because we would like it that way. We got a couple of other things we'd like to take out of that, but right now that's speculation, Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, Larry. Mike.
So Lou, the Damon House now, or did, house the maintenance supervisor, transportation department, and the special ed department. Where are they?
Special ed will stay there.
Yeah,
Bob Adams will move to his office in the high school. There is a place for him in his own area for him. And there's 2 bedrooms upstairs, so I believe the way we got it worked out, that the payroll girl, or I'm not sure of her title right now because things are changing. Accounts receivable, maybe, I can't be clear on the title, okay, at this point. But she'll probably be upstairs. And then Kathy Vigil would be receptionist plus superintendent secretary plus secretary for BA. BA needs an office and superintendent. And
you're
the
talking like
kitchen
5
would stay
offices,
there.
right?
There was only 9 kids in the house, okay, for special ed, and that can be taken into the high school with no problem.
Is that what the plan is, to take it into the high school?
It's already in the high school.
Okay, last I knew it was.
The building is empty.
Mhm.
We had a discussion about that because Scott Courier wanted to know if he could use it a little bit. And, as things start coming out of the SAU building, if nobody's in there, we can put it in there, even for storage, because you don't want to move everything at the very last minute, and we don't know when that will start, so.
Thank you, Lou.
And with the moving, they're also talking about getting Stratford County guys to help, because there's no charge except for a lunch and drinks, and that's something I brought up that could save us money on, manpower to move file cabinets and stuff.
Very good, thank you, Lou.
You're welcome.
On a similar topic, what the district has been doing, Ann Kelber and the superintendent and other staff.
And Keebler.
I'm sorry, no.
Yes.
I think she says Kelber. We'll see what happens. I think she said I'm not the cookie, but we'll check. There was just recently in Foster's an article on the Rochester School District, which has been successful in bringing some of its special ed programs back in-house to cut the extraordinary expenses of out-of-district placements. And Milton, for the discussions that I've heard from being at the school district meetings, is doing the same thing. Question of the school representative: was the school district meeting at which a motion was made for Milton to be a standalone district on tape?
I have no idea.
Of it. If
I was at one of those meetings and it was not,
that
they didn't get televised till later this year.
okay.
Right, right, but I'm sure it was on Wakefield's.
But it was also at one of the school board meetings.
Yeah.
That was there.
That the reason I ask, if the school board meeting was not on tape, you missed a powerful motion, recommendation, and tribute to the school district from Lou Snyder when she made the motion to have Milton function as a standalone school district.
Oh, I'm
That's the one you're
sorry,
talking
I
about.
misunderstood
Yeah.
you. I thought you were talking about originally.
Yeah.
So-
That was
That
on
was on
tape.
tape.
I made that motion on
Yes,
tape
and if
to
you,
not go with Summer's
yeah,
work.
if you can, go back and watch it again. It is well done, and anybody thinking about supporting the school district budget should listen again to that motion and the reasoning behind it.
Mr. Chairman, in reference to the school, at the last school board meeting, there was a motion to accept a grant for a purpose that was being carried in the budget. If you want to go any further on that, or if you want me to go on it.
Go ahead.
Right.
Go for it.
It was, I can't remember which one it was. Anyway, it was a purpose that was support, they had a grant prior. The school board felt that the grant monies was gonna dry up, wasn't gonna be available any longer. So they supported the cause in the budget. Now they got a grant of $80,000 this year and $100,000 next year for that same purpose. I spoke up and said that I felt that since they're getting reimbursed for the $80,000 and $100,000, that same exact amount should come out of the budget and be and sent back to the taxpayer. Because in my mind, it was supported in the budget, and now it's getting reimbursed. And it's no different than anything else you get reimbursed for. You shouldn't double dip. And I think this board needs to pay attention to that and have our say on it.
That I think that will be an excellent point when we have the discussion with the school district, a general presentation of the budget, and how those two items cross over, complement, or cancel each other. Bring that up again, and would you put in the minutes for Doug's convenience and the superintendent? Do you remember the name of that?
No,
that
I
grant?
don't, but I can find it out tomorrow.
That's three of us. When you get the name of that grant, just call Bob so he can give it its proper name in the minutes.
Yep.
I will get that tomorrow.
And that will make sure
Okay.
there is a solid and clear discussion of the rationale and the pluses and minuses.
Because there was some
on that.
discussion at that meeting of
Yeah.
people suggesting that we don't reimburse the taxpayer and use this extra money to do more. And that, in my mind, is not the proper way of doing it.
That, okay.
Not saying I'm against the cause. I'm
Mhm.
saying that when something gets reimbursed, the taxpayer should get reimbursed also.
Okay. Then,
Chairman, I got a question for our school
yes.
district representative. You mentioned that the monies to basically rehab or to modify the Damon House are coming from the maintenance. I'm assuming that's the school district maintenance and not the SAU maintenance?
Right, there is
Okay.
no,
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it was coming from the school,
Yeah,
and so we didn't
we-
end up in any.
we have a
issues
trust
with-
fund that we add money to.
Okay.
Mostly, it was 50,000 out of fund balance.
Okay.
Okay, so it was never new money. Last year, it was 25,000 that got approved. I believe, please don't hold me to it, but I think there's 120,000 in there now. A certain amount we like to keep in case one of the furnaces goes, But I brought it up that would be an excellent thing, not to charge the taxpayers. And it might also go for a couple of other things that have been brought up. Because that's what it's for, And I like it used in the right way and not the wrong way. And building, maintenance, and repair and renovation. I know they added another wording, but I don't agree with that personally, so I would never add the other thing. But that's what it was
Okay.
designed for, and that's what we'd like to use it for.
Any other comment on that?
Bob?
Just mine. Nathan was supposed to give us a final number for the end of June, and we haven't received it because money is still coming in and money and invoices are still coming in. Did you get a final on that? Because we never got it.
I'm not sure, but I'll check on
Would
that
you
tomorrow.
please? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And just put a note to Nathan and copy him.
I'll do it. It's fine. I will do it.
We'll send the minutes along. One of the, in terms of the planning for the separation of the two districts, Milton will be keeping the name SAU 64. Wakefield will have to find its own number.
They already have it.
Oh, which is?
I have no idea.
Okay. Effective June 30th of 2017. Superintendent Sussman put together, coming out of discussion from Stephanie Berry and others, a strategic action plan which will detail the staff involved, the action dates for doing various tasks to move into the Damon House, the appraisal of the common properties owned at the Exit 17 office, who moves what when. So that work is being done. Anything else on either town or school?
Well,
Stan?
you brought up one good thing, on exit, where the office is now, the SAU office.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a legal binding document saying that we have to buy out of it, or is that the
No,
lease
no.
comes to an end?
The lease came to an end. They extended for a year because we had to renew this June for, the coming year. So we did extend for 1 year so that there'll be no money for buying out. It's done. We have to be out by the end of June, period, so.
But we're responsible to the June 7th of 2017.
Yes, I believe June 30th.
Bob Carrier.
Yeah, just one thing. Lou, I went out and I got the MS9 form. It has all the capital reserves, all the funds in this town. I've got it from the last year, and I got it for this year from January to August. So there's
Mhm.
money being moved. You should see some of that. I have it here. I will pass it out before you leave. Come and get it. I got 3 copies of it. Some is more. There's 2 2015. One's more detailed than the other. The other one's easier to read, but the other one gets into the plus and minus for the return on investments.
Well, the only thing with the funds, for those, the money really doesn't go in or have to be in until December. So, it did get approved for 25,000 in March, but it really takes that long to get it in there.
This is the best I can get updated.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's just kind of weird,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
And excuse me, and I think you also had some good comment on something, I don't remember exactly, the e-reimbursement on telephone?
Yes, that
Yeah.
comes in after the thing, so it's never counted in the budget. So
Yeah.
they put it in as revenue.
Okay.
Because I guess I'm not sure, but it's a nice amount.
Then.
But don't hold me to the amount.
It's okay. We'll take you off the tape. That brings us, unless there is any other thing, down to number 4, C. We've done the town budget, the town administrator not available, school budget discussions, and then 4C, which is a discussion of measurements, what Caitlin would call the metrics, templates, and comparable data. And what we have been discussing from various angles is how to get data that is a fair representation of your past costs and your present costs, and what you should be expecting in the future. What I am always interested in is the outliers, the expenses which suddenly go whoop off the chart and you need an explanation. What Mike is working toward with the town budget is a full review of department expenses line by line. And what Caitlin has here, yours, is, I don't know if you can see it at this scale, but you should be able to see high lines and low lines. So, Caitlin.
So last meeting, we were kind of talking about how, when we got these expenditure reports, they were full of information, but it was kind of, can be a little cumbersome to get a sense of where we're at, maybe what is, overspent, underspent. It takes a little while to actually go in and kind of get a feel for the numbers. So I said that at this meeting I would bring just some examples of different ways to present it, so that we can maybe make these discussions a little bit more, have good talking points, and then also when we're actually going to figure out what the budget is, be able to look at it compared, this year's versus last year's. So the first one should be, the title is percent spent year to date. And I didn't have this in Excel, which made it really cumbersome to do, so I just copied the numbers in. But what this should be reading right off the main, whatever file that they use. So as soon as they update that, these graphs should up to date. And if you look at it, I've taken the horizontal lines that's just divided up into quarters. So 25%, 50% spent, 75%, and then 100% spent. So you can look at this and you can really quickly see that. Somebody brought up the point about the warrant articles not being spent. Well, it's right there on that graph. You can really quickly see that and conservation commitment are also considerably underspent. You can also see that the department service principal is almost 100%, if not 100% spent. And the point of this isn't necessarily be like, oh, well, that's at 82%. It's to look at it and be like, that's funny. And then you go back to the actual numbers and figure out, what is that, does it make sense? Does it not make sense? So I picked one of them outside appropriations, because it was kind of high. And that should be another chart, hopefully, that says, it says percent spent, they didn't change it, but it looks like this. So one will look like this. So all I did was I took, I just happened to take that one and split it up into each individual little account, so you can see that most of those are 100% spent. So that would be the idea, is that, you look at the big chart, there'd be certain ones you'd want to go see, and you'd look at the smaller chart, and then you could kind of get more information from that. And then the other thing that we were talking about being interested in was seeing what our budget, this year's budget, or planning for the next year budget, was compared to previous year. So the next one should be budget year comparison. And I didn't have previous year's budget, so I put in dummy numbers, so don't read anything into this. And then I got the overview, and what I found was that the grand total order of magnitude is in the millions, and some of these are in the tens of thousands.
Okay. For the paper, for the
The back one? I'm on this.
Are you still on the first page?
Oh.
Third page.
No, they're not. So it should say budget year comparison all at the top. Looks like they're not.
But,
That would be probably that.
Got it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So you can see that really didn't help the smaller ones. But you can see from that, where our big ticket line items are. And then as you go through the next one, which is in front of those, I've broken it up into the ones that are, greater than $1 million, which is the total, and total in the warrant articles. Ones that were greater than 100,000, greater than 20,000, and then less than the smaller ones. So you can just flip through that, and that would basically just kind of show you how we were this budget year versus the last 2, 3, whatever we decide is appropriate. So it was just an example of different ways that we can present this. It shouldn't add any more work to whoever is printing these things out, except to print on a couple more pages. But.
Okay. A question. That is, the second piece of paper. These are all put together in the same order. Yes.
I did make the copies, I assume so.
Oh, okay. That
You can use the title though.
budget year comparison
less this year. It's less than 20,000.
Less than 20,000. So, again, for those of you following along at home, this chart, vertical bar graph, has been done in terms of the 2016 budget, 2015 budget, and 2014.
Except remember,
That
2015 and 14 are made up numbers,
That-
correct?
Yes. And for discussion, if you should come in and get a copy of this, which will be out here, you can see that the way Caitlin has set up the numbers, you can look at the graphs and see whether or not how expenses are fluctuating, whether that was substantial or a minor fluctuation. And the same thing for the third page. Now, on the fourth page, which is the large rectangular blocks,
Greater than $1 million.
greater than a million, again, hypothetical. Okay,
Everything is hypothetical.
hypothetical.
Except for the
It's
2016.
it's all
The
hypothetical.
2016 one is accurate as of the last, whatever we got emailed
Yeah.
last. That's
So, then, the question is, this is in black and white because it's just the beginnings of discussion. In other contexts, it could be a variety of colors, and the information would be on the money for what it actually is. Question then is, how do we get access to that, or in my own humor, who bells the cat?
so in
I guess what it is, are you looking for the actual numbers to these?
Well, no, I'm trying to describe what the bar charts do over a 3-year period, how that information is useful, and how we get it to use in our budget committee meetings month by month. Or as I put it, who bells the cat, who does the work,
Okay.
and how do we get it? Is this something that we should, since by statute we have the authority to ask for information in any detail that you require? A courteous budget committee does not send the town or the school district down into the dungeons to fight the alligators off to get the information. Dennis?
Real quick, I think this is excellent. I think it'd be more practical though, however, or more useful if you start with the large numbers and then zoom down to lower numbers. As far as, starting off with the hypothetical greater than 1 million, and then in the order that you place them, go down to the smaller numbers.
yeah, if that was my intention, but
Okay.
after it printed, it just kind of fell on the floor. So
Okay.
I was speaking of that late.
I
So
did-
it can be in any order that you'd like.
Well, no, the reason why I say this, because if you present a budget to me, I'm gonna look at it like this, and I'm gonna say, okay, that looks like a problem. Then I'm gonna go, okay, there it is here,
Yep.
here it is here, bingo, there's the problem right there.
Mhm.
And I think just by starting off with the large numbers and going down small, it makes it very easy to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
I think this is excellent.
Sorry, Larry, to address your, my thought for this was that I've already created the Excel sheets, right? These are already done. This is assuming an Excel, or it can be submitted in Excel.
You can do that in Excel. I have done it before, and I put formulas in there to make the numbers change.
Right.
And you could incorporate that into the graphs. And I'll tell you, it'd be useful, if you would send that to me, I could print those in color. The other thing too, Mr. Chairman, I have these numbers, final numbers.
This was me being really, really busy and
Yeah.
trying to do this last minute.
I'm sure.
So yes, I could have been totally better prepared. Apologize for not.
No,
doing
it's
it,
not.
but-
It's a good start, but the only other thing, Mr. Chairman, unless you know the history of that year, these charts won't tell you nothing.
3 years from now, you are elected for 3 years, are you not?
As it turns out.
Three years from now, if my impression is that this is something that the town administrator, either having already done it or it being something simple for someone who can plug things into an existing system, Excel, or with a comment from you who do this stuff day by day.
Used to.
It could be created without a great deal of angst or time commitment.
That would be the, probably the number 2 goal of this. Number 1 would be gets the best data possible, you know, the most accurate. Number 2 would be to make it as simple as possible. And that kind of brings me to the second part of this, is I wanted to have a discussion on, see if there's anything else we wanted to talk about, see in graph form. But the second half of it would be actually to create a dialogue that goes along with the charts. And it sounds complicated, but it can be really simple. And we would mention things like that. For example, in 2015 we had no snow, so this is why this line was way underspent. And just to kind of remind ourselves of those little nuggets as time goes on, so that we don't forget. So that would be the second half of it.
That, yes, you will. Pardon me if I start playing my same song, which is the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. What I think is useful is what Caitlin is bringing up in a more literate format, which is the 8.5 by 11 summary from the town administrator or from the school district, which says over the last month we have had the following successes, problems, major expenses, or equipment breakdowns, which answers your question about we had an extraordinarily mild winter. What I like about that, since I'm still a hopeless paper person, is if I were doing a year report, I would take my 12 pieces of paper, read them through, and write my report that of the 5 departments, 6 departments in the town, the following were major events for those departments over the year. And it had an impact on our budget in the following areas.
Well done.
No. So, Lou.
I would say that should be done at the end of the year and not monthly, because you don't know monthly what's going to go on, especially up at the school, because you got in and out.
Yeah.
And you don't know how it's going to end up. You got people coming and going, and even the board doesn't always know that exactly. So I would suggest that may be a nice idea, but once a year you could do that, not monthly.
Tom.
I agree with what, I think this is perfect. I mean, it's, and there's no reason that you couldn't take previous year's data and fill this in if you can extract it in a CSV format or Excel. It's once you get the template that spits this out, it's a piece of cake.
Then it's just nothing.
I don't do quite this exact thing, but I do something very similar to this every day.
If she has to.
But anyway, in reference to what Lou said, I agree with what she says, that at the end of the year, stuff needs to be put in, but I also think that there's no reason that you couldn't. For the school, absolutely, there's stuff you can't put in, but note could be put in now, hey, we've got the town administrator hired, that's why the TA line was low.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be more of a, as it makes sense, put comments in, and not necessarily that there has to be a comment in this line every month. I think it would be more of a, and I suspect that if something like this were to be adopted, that is how it would end up, is a more common sense, okay, this is why, you know, we have serviced all of our debt at the first of the year, that's why that line is 100% on January 2nd. I think that,
yeah.
and, you know, comments along the way, I think would be the perfect way to go, because then 3 months from now, when somebody says, why didn't we spend that much? It would be, oh yeah, that's right, because you know, January through March, we had 12 inches of snow and that was it. You know,
Yeah.
but I think this is,
So you're saying,
This is easy to go.
if I may reiterate, that it doesn't have to be this big, long spiel?
yeah, you
Uh,
fill in comments as they make sense to fill in comments.
Well,
Whether it's month to month, whether it's month to month, whether it's every 6 months, whether it's, you know,
Because, I mean, there's a lot of things
Yeah.
that go on that are not public and.
oh, yeah,
oh, yeah, that, what,
you do it as it makes sense.
yeah.
But I think it's,
Because I don't want to see it in
Okay.
stone cold. Oh,
Yeah.
every
Right.
month
The,
you got to do this.
Oh, okay. That, did I cut you off, or did you finish?
Sorry.
Oh, no,
No,
just
keep
one
going.
other. I love the year to spent, the percent spent year to date, and I really hate, I feel like I'm criticizing work that somebody's done and they've done a good job. I don't mean it to sound like that. Something that I've done before is added basically sort of like a heat map, except instead of concentrating, you know, on a map, instead of, you know, turning different areas orange or red, if we made because you look at this and you think, oh yeah, warrant articles there, we haven't spent much there, but on this sheet there's no indication of how large an amount the warrant articles might be relative to everything else. So color coding the individual columns, so like, you know, the column that might have a $10 million spend, total spend, maybe make that bright red. The column that's got a $1,000 spend, make that a dark blue, with color variations in between indicating relative. And I really hate to almost say that because I sound like I'm criticizing, you know, that's not what I mean to
No,
do.
I'm-
Just a different way of visualizing. On the face of the chart, the red, you know, the red line would be, oh, that's something that when you dig into the chart is going to be a big number. And of course, you can't really see the red on the black and white printout, but you know, I've also done stuff like that before where you've color coded things to indicate their relative magnitudes.
Like
Are you talking about
the,
conditional formatting the actual bars?
Actually, you could do that. You conditional format the bar based on the dollar amount of and I don't know if you have the data in your spreadsheet now, but you could conditional format the color of it based on the total amount allocated for that department.
okay, so.
Are we reinventing the wheel here?
No, I understand what he's saying. I actually don't. I don't think you can do that. I looked for that, but my concern with doing that is that, let's face it, this is not always going to get printed out in color.
Yeah,
So one of the reasons that I'd like to split it up
Yep.
for that reason is so that in case it is only made black and
Yeah.
white, and my thought was, this isn't a great example, but when I did this, your shade variations between 15
Yeah.
and 14 are
Yeah.
not great, so what I would do is pick colors that look good when you look at it in color and also are obvious when it's not.
In theory, you could have a clever program that would be dark blue down at the bottom of the bar, and when it hit a statutory definition of 75% expended, it started changing to light blue and hit red at 90%. What Lou was bringing up, in terms of special ed costs, which one we are not privy to by individual, and which can fluctuate so much within the year, go up and down and come out even though there have been substantial changes. And then you have something that Stan can speak to, which was, Stan, was it the number 5 pump? One went out of service and had a difference on your electrical costs.
Only reasoning is because we have the pump separated, detailed electric cost
Yeah.
and heat cost. So that would be showing, like, the graph would show that one is dramatically high and one's dramatically low. And that's because, obviously, it wasn't used as much. But, I mean, I think that's nice and everything, but we still can't get away with the fact that we still got to go back to this right here. And right on the right-hand side, it says remaining and used, and all your information here. I think it's great to look at that and say, okay, let's look at this because there's a problem. But we always have to go back to this. Because this is the Bible right here, in my book.
And I don't think anybody's saying that you don't do that, but when you look at a graph, you can immediately say, wow, that one is much larger than what we think it should be in January or May. It's data visualization. It's visualizing the data that we have in front of us in a different manner.
This is when you look at the radar for the weather map, and the rain is coming through, and the most intense rain is, what is it, the orange, and the outside rain is green, orange, yellow, and green. Same difference. Is there any conclusion that the committee would like to reach? If Caitlin, with the first olive out of the jar, so to speak, can, for the other pressures of her full-time job, can pull out easily the detail from other years, and can compare these expenses through September 15th, and give them to us again through October 15th, with any improvement, or whatever the dates are, with any improvements that the real world numbers can give. Do you feel that you have the comfortable time to do that? And will the committee look at it to see if it gives a clear, fast picture of whether we are up, down, or in the middle?
I think my first question would be, who is the end user for this? I mean, who, ultimately, when you have all this paperwork, this graph and everything, is it intended for the budget committee? Is it intended for the general public? Is this a working?
This should, I mean, my thought would be for the budget committee, but as that is not creating any more or less information than.
Right, I just want to make sure that we all understand what this is for.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
this is for us, but there's no reason to, it's not secret. I mean, if this is secret, then.
Right, then that is, yeah.
Then that is secret.
Right, okay.
I mean, this should be in the same file, this is the same stuff, it's just presented in a slightly different manner.
Actually, it's all common knowledge. There's nothing secret, so
No.
it's
so-
for the public, it's for everyone.
It can all be common knowledge. I'm not sure that it all is.
But,
Well-
but our intention would be to make it as useful for us as we want it to be. So, I mean, the other thing I wanted to know is, 3 years, is that good? Do you want more years? Because whatever I plug in now just becomes something that just plugs on for, until somebody comes up with something
I
more
guess my big
brilliant.
question is, who's gonna be responsible for this? If you're gonna start relying on this document, who's gonna be responsible for it? And is it gonna be voluntary, or is it gonna end up in the hands of someone in the town hall? And then we're expecting it, and they're pushing off some other duties they have.
I would think, well, Mr. Chairman, if I might.
Fire away.
I would believe that for right now, it would be whichever the budget committee members would feel they could take it on. If we find that it is very useful, and that we find that, because this is the beginnings of data visualization. It's everybody's heard of big data. This is the very beginnings of big data. And I think that as we start doing this, I could see this being rolled into somebody's duties in the town hall, if we find it to be very useful. If we don't.
Let me be very, very clear about what this does and what it doesn't do. If it's set up correctly the first time, and I'm willing to volunteer to get that set up and to work with the town administrator to make sure that it's seamless. It shouldn't take any more time except to hit print, theoretically, because this is already something. This is already there, and all it should be doing is just automatically updating. That being said, there are always something that happens. Somebody pushes some button. And my goal to this would be, I could do conditional formatting. I actually have done it. But in order to do that, I have to do crazy programming and create macros for it, and that's always a bad idea if you're not willing to sit and babysit. So I would make this so it didn't have any of that. So to be really clear, it's just a chart, plugs in the stuff that already exists, end of story.
So, as you create the first document, the second and third and fourth documents are being created as well.
Yeah.
Basically, the information-wise.
Created, it's just updated.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's a board, we have the authority to create work for someone in town hall. we have the authority to ask for information,
Right.
but I don't think we have the authority to tell them how they were gonna get it,
Right, so.
within reason. So I
Right.
think that's something we have to think about before we say, oh yeah, we want this. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
So let me be clear that that shouldn't create any extra work. And it should be at the level that if you're in an administrative role, or that you should be able to understand Excel, that's basic enough that if you did need to change a color, or we added a line, or whatever, they should be able to handle that.
But we haven't even got a secretary.
Well, that is
I
a
mean,
problem,
Bob
but that's
is
a bigger
gracious.
problem than for this.
Yeah, it is.
We
It
have,
is.
at the moment,
Forget
we're,
this for that.
at the moment, we're better than a secretary. We have Bob Carrier. Let
Chairman?
me yes.
This is a practical question, not meant to negate the work that you did, because I couldn't do it, so God bless you for doing it. Do we have a color printer here at Town Hall?
That's a brilliant question.
That
I believe we do. I
Which
can't
goes-
speak for sure.
Which goes back to me being better about choosing colors, so that if we didn't, it's still useful.
Cost more.
Okay. Then let me just jump in to summarize this part of it. Is that one, we don't know what Heather's interests and experiences and preferences are. As described by Caitlin and mentioned a little bit by Tom, this should be this plugs in off existing program with a hit print. The electrons do the work rather than someone having to track down, find, and integrate additional information, and the default equals not there and no damage. Is that a fair summary?
I have some experience in creating supportive systems like this, so yes.
Okay.
If it's
Are you
neat,
familiar with Unismart? That's what they use here.
Be careful what you say.
It does. It doesn't necessarily matter to me what the program is. Most programs like this can export in some CSV, some file that I can be able to put this into.
if it needs to be colored, I can color that.
Yep. May I offer a proverb for the evening in terms of different platforms? If you're talking about a duck, sooner or later it's going to have feathers. That the information will move toward similarities. I think that we have discussed that enough.
Actually, I do have a couple just questions. Is 3 years enough, or do we want more?
Normally during budget season, we have 3 years
Yep.
supplied to us.
This, so the chart's right, so it would be 16, 15, and 14 is
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then was there anything else? So I got years spent to date.
That I
had this sorted, so this budget year comparison is sorted by the amount in that account. But we were talking earlier about sorting it by usage. Would that be helpful? So whatever is the most, mostly used, or does it not really matter?
that
I kept it in this percent spent year to date is the same order that it comes out in to make it kind of easier to find.
I think that's a good idea, because if you're looking and you say, okay, this is the
Yeah.
third item, then we go to the third item.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think
But I could do it
Dennis
anyway.
Dennis said that you've got the big picture year to date, and then you got the whoa of just something major that happened
Yeah,
that you
zoom
need to
in.
talk about.
Basically zooming in.
That
Yeah.
unless I think it would be useful to bring this forward on real data that can be part of discussion in October. And the minutes and Mike's own comments in talking to Heather should be enough to give her a sense of the lay of the land, that it is meant to be useful rather than intrusive, duplicating work, or trying to suggest that someone does not have the competencies to manage their own data.
Yeah.
Any other points?
One last question. On the percent year to date, would it be possible to create another percent year to date where the largest budget number item is on the left, the smallest budget item number is on the right?
You're talking about, like, for example, the first one would be warrant articles.
Yeah.
Yep, I can do it.
Then you've got a relative idea. Okay, the warrant article should be the big one, but we haven't spent very much of it. Or the warrant article is the big one, we spent all of it, January 2nd.
Here, see, there it is.
Almost.
Just,
And I will- I
just
will-
look through the back of the paper.
I will keep the first one because
Yeah.
that one is the
That's
key
the
to
default as
finding
it comes out of the college report.
Um,
Like I said, I'm just trying to come
Okay.
up with a way of, it might look like you spent a lot of a small number, and
that it is moving toward 7:30. I know Stan is looking at 4:30 coming.
4 o'clock. 4 o'clock.
I
not
just gave you half an hour.
I wish I had it.
Stan is looking at 4 o'clock.
I'm not the only one.
I'm sorry, I just buried my own minutes, my agenda.
The next one on the agenda is, Larry, you got bylaws.
Okay.
And I'd like to make a suggestion where we all just get handed them, that there's quite a few here, quite a few pages, that we take some time, read through it, try to digest it, and then at the next meeting, we can vote if we want to make those
Can I go
changes.
over really quickly what
Yes.
I did? Which is really not much of anything. Most of these are just grammar, organization, consistency of numbering. The biggest changes would be to move some of the sections into
Mhm.
some of the sections that seem to make a little bit more sense to me, but whatever. And then also, I think the only thing I actually was looking for was that duties of officers. When I first started, there was a lot of talk about, this person needs to have at least this much experience. And I was like, that sounds good to me. And then looked at the bylaws and it wasn't in there. So I thought that maybe just translating a little bit of tribal knowledge into this would be beneficial.
On that, anyone who is a duly qualified voter in the township may apply to run for any elective office in the township.
That's correct.
And the school district, the water district, and the board of selectmen each provide of their own authority a representative for their interests.
I was talking about specifically chair and vice chair within the
It's
budget.
you gotta have some type of experience.
That
Well, it's all in the language,
Yeah.
and she put in there
Yeah.
should, which represents, it'd be nice if you could make it happen,
yes,
not necessarily must.
or shall,
Okay,
which is
the-
mandatory. That
Don't forget
I-
to do a volunteer board, too.
I
Getting
thank
those
you.
positions is hard enough as it is.
Yeah, I thank you for the work in the color changes. Thank you for the review. I see, just looking briefly, the page that I looked at was on page 4, where it says, "Move this to section 3." When we come back next month, I will have this on the agenda again. The presumption will be that you either read it, agree with it, or have changes. If you didn't read it and don't agree with it, don't vote.
Just one thing, Mr. Chairman, when I forwarded, did anybody get it? I forwarded, I know Dennis said he had trouble getting it.
I didn't get the first
I
time, but I
gave
got
you
the
the
second
email
one.
part of it,
Yeah.
so when I
Yeah.
forwarded, nobody
Yeah,
must have
we
got
got
it.
it in hard copy now, so.
Yeah, I
Right.
thank Caitlin for going through, taking the time. And this came out of, again, Bruce Woodruff and his 30 years in service to the state of New Hampshire, for making sure that we have the background statutory authority for what we are doing if anyone ever asks. Next would be, we have our public input and discussions. We have members' comments, which I will take back to item 3, future discussion for both the town and the school district budget discussions. And you may remember about 10, 15 minutes ago, I said that last year's discussion and presentation of the department heads to the budget committee and the school district's general presentation were handled very nicely by Bob, who had an orderly list of the dates we would be using. Heather is working with the department heads to get their input and their budgets to bring them to the budget committee as, what's the word I want? Cohesive whole. And Lou, you are going to be talking to Doug for dates that will be useful. For general information, we have the third Tuesday of the month is ours. Are there other?
Third Tuesday.
I'm sorry.
Thursday.
This is Cleveland, right?
God, I hope.
I can't do Thursday.
Okay, that's exactly my question. What is, we'll just do the days of the week. Monday, who can't be here? Raise a hand.
We're talking about any Monday?
Mondays in general, we'll specify later. Monday is not good for one person. Tuesday, the third Tuesday is ours. Other Tuesdays.
The public hearing is on a Tuesday. I think it's the second week.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I think he's trying to plan what other days in the budget season
Yeah.
we can
okay.
have more meetings.
Right.
I have water district on the
But we
fourth
assemble
Tuesday.
as the budget committee.
Okay. The water district is fourth Tuesday. You just mentioned Tuesday. Wednesday, as a day of the week that you would be available for a meeting.
No.
No.
No, school district. If the school district were coming to the budget committee, that would not be a conflict for you.
Right.
Okay. Same thing if the town was coming to the budget committee, that would not be a conflict
Wednesday.
for you. Okay, Thursday,
ZBA.
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 ZBA. Are we a quorum?
Doesn't matter. We're not on that board right now.
Okay, Larry, I
and-
guess I'm Chairman, are you talking about when the budgets start?
When budget season started, and if we get jammed for a day, we have to have an additional meeting, what would it be? So just keep that,
Okay,
keep that in mind.
I know Tuesdays were hours all the way down to
Yes.
the budget season,
Yeah.
right? Week after week, we were over on
Tuesdays,
Tuesdays.
right, Bob?
Yeah, we
Yeah, I
stayed
think
that
we
way.
can keep it that
But a
way.
couple times, we had to skid off because of time constraint.
Because in this room?
No,
Oh.
the time
Oh,
constraint
yeah.
with the
Okay.
municipal budget.
Well, plus we gotta make sure the room's available too, there's other things.
Yeah,
that
right.
happen. Even though last year, the Board of Selectmen made the commitment to us that we'd take precedent on the room if it was like fire department or
Yeah.
something of that nature. So
Yeah.
I think we should still see if that's still the case.
Yes.
And also, I was gonna say this when we get to the comments, but since you're talking about future meetings, every year we've always put a cap at 9 o'clock on any budget meetings. I think we need to do the same again.
Mhm.
I
So,
agree.
because
Yeah.
you know, you and myself and other people,
Mhm.
9 o'clock's even pushing it. So I think
Yeah.
we should stick to that again.
Yeah, I'm serious. The way you get up at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I just know how I get up at 4 o'clock. You watching me?
No, I look at your eyes from about 6:30 on. They start turning black.
I guess
That-
3:30, I know what you're saying.
Members' comments.
I've got a couple, but I think I'll talk to you afterwards and bring it up next meeting.
Okay, Stan?
So that's the 9 o'clock.
I have a question. Since I'm the school board rep, when you have questions or papers, shouldn't it go through me and not go to the office shouldn't I be the one that takes
That-
anything to the office to get,
That's a representative word.
Yeah,
because that was not done.
that,
I just want to check and make sure that my thoughts were the correct ones, that if you have questions on the school or want information, it goes through me.
I agree.
that.
I agree
okay.
too.
Give me a better example.
Well, I took your paper that I thought needed to be filled out right now, and the people at the office said that they already had your template.
Yeah, that, the one that I dropped off to you that morning.
Mm-hmm. So you must have sent it to the office.
No, I visited the superintendent and the business administrator in person as a welcome to Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, and to discuss issues that, as superintendent and business administrator, would be of interest.
Well,
And
I mean, I don't know, what do you guys think?
I'm gonna make a motion that from this day forward, anything that there's a representative on this board, town, school,
School.
water, goes through the representative for any information.
Second.
vote
Aye.
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 carried.
Solves
Wait,
that.
who seconded? Who seconded that?
Mike,
I just wanted to be clear.
It is now.
Thank you.
That's what the seat exists for, so.
Okay.
I'm good.
Bob.
One thing, we just got, this has been given to us, the Town of Milton Planning Board. I hope every committee members read it. This is
CIP
excellent
program.
reading, and this is our way out of all this. We can keep the budgets from going, spiking, with whatever we need. It's already known, we already know what we're gonna need here. This is very important. The other thing too, I
It'd
wanna
be
thank.
good to know that information going into budget season as
Yes,
well.
it's important, because if we don't do this, year to year, we're gonna keep spiking. The other thing too, Mr. Chairman, I wanna thank you for the 3 reams of paper you and your wife gave me. I'm sure I'm gonna go through it.
Well, you should be getting paper from the town, under the budget committee's
budget,
Yeah.
expense.
Supplies.
along with ink.
I really don't wanna do that.
Well, that's what it exists for.
Yeah, but
It does, but the thing is, I'm gonna give something back.
That's up to you personally, but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
That's what it's in the
understand.
budget
They
for.
will do it, and the school will do the same thing, they'll print out all this stuff, but I'm trying to give them a little something back. You know, I have that option.
and ink too, you should be getting ink. So,
Okay.
Caitlin. Maureen.
Good,
Welcome back. How is Barbara?
fabulous. Babs is fab.
Mike?
Motion to adjourn?
No, but, members' comments. Last, just,
Oh, the next meeting, you should
The-
be start too.
yes, and this goes back to the beginning one, which is housekeeping. Does Heather wish to come to our meeting, in which case the invitation is out there?
She was in training today.
Oh,
That's why she didn't make it. Otherwise, she is, part of her job is to be here at these meetings.
okay, fine. And thanks to Caitlin for her work on the red ink, redoing the bylaws of the town of Milton. You may have again a paper copy of templates for discussion done on the same premise that Caitlin put together her bar graphs. These are questions that are of interest for finding out where the outliers are.
The only thing is, Mr.
That-
Chairman, I didn't know we tabled the bylaws. Who made the motion to do that?
To do what?
To table the
I
bylaws?
did.
And who
And-
seconded it?
I don't think it was a motion, was it was a suggestion.
Oh, suggestion? Well,
Yeah,
okay.
a consensus.
Okay.
That's fine. Anything else for the good of the order? Then we have motion to
Announce the date-
adjourn.
Announce the date of the next meeting, which should be the 18th.
The next meeting will be the 18th. Copies of the minutes will go to the
The committee
to-
members will get it. I usually give it to you a week before the meeting. This way here it's fresh in your mind. That's why if you
Mhm.
don't see it right away, I have to have it in town hall much quicker than that. But
Mhm.
yeah, unless somebody wants them sooner, I always do it, and then the agenda goes with it.
Right, and the minutes can also go out to the town administrator and to the
Town clerk.
to Doug Shute as chair of the school board, and to the superintendent as a courtesy.
Okay. So,
No, Doug gets them because he's an alternate for me.
okay.
Doug gets him because he's the chair of the...
No,
It doesn't matter, we get some.
Uh-huh.
Says-
I just thought about it, I know if we get
Um,
it, Dane will be all over me.
Okay, we got a motion on the table.
Yeah, I'm looking for the second.
Maureen seconded
I
it.
seconded it.
Second, we're up,
Okay.
up and out.
Okay.
Aye.
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 I'll send it to you. Fine.
The, Lou?